Welcome to Behind the Bleachers, the spot where real sports talk happens. No filters, no fluff, just straight up takes from the fans who actually care. I'm your host, Josue Rodriguez, and with me I have
Orlando Perez.
We're going to talk about the absolute disasters that was the NBA All-Star Game. New format, no defense, and somehow it's getting worse. So grab a seat because we're breaking down why the league just fumbled one of its biggest nights again. The NBA All-Star Game last night was not a very good one for fans across the nation. As we saw from Twitter, from Facebook, from all major social media platforms, fans were not engaged due to how long the commercials and the breaks were between each game. This time was a time where the league needed to revolutionize the game of the All-Star game since they were losing a lot of viewers since 2003. In 2003, per statista.com, the viewerships for the NBA All-Star game, not for the weekend, but for the All-Star game, was at an all-time high for 10.8 million viewers. But as we see from 2024, from last year's All-Star games, it was 5.5 million viewers. So roughly just under half of that. Even though it was about 1 million on top of from 2023, which was a 4.6 million. But ever since 2003, it's been from 8.2 to 7.1, 6.3, and it's gone up and down, but mostly down. And the NBA has not been anywhere close to their 10.8. And for the past few years, the NBA has changed their formats on their All-Star weekend. And unfortunately, it has not worked out for them. They were supposed to be doing a 4-game bracket where they would play a final to make it more engaging for fans, which I would say it is more engaging in the thought process of it. You had the Rising Stars versus the OGs, which was, the OGs had Kyrie Irving, Stephen Curry, LeBron James, but unfortunately was out due to an injury. Then the Rising Stars, you had young players who just got recently drafted. Then you had the players, the young team, which had Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, players like that versus the global star team, which was Nikola Jokic. You had Victor Wembanyama. You had all stars like that. And in theory, that is a really good format. But what did you think? All right. Hold up real quick. If you're listening to this, chances are you love sports, media, and breaking down the game just like we do. So why not turn your passion into a career? The University of St. Mary in Leavenworth, Kansas has an awesome communications program that lets you do just that. Whether you're in sports communication, broadcasting, or journalism, you'll get hands-on experience from day one. Graduates go on to become sports reporters, videographers, and marketing pros. So if you're serious about making moves in the media, USM is the place to start. Check out stmary.edu to learn more. All right, back to it. Let's get into the rest of this NBA All-Star disaster.
I believe that last night's All-Star game was overall a disappointment. They changed the format plenty of times for the same thing that happened every year, which is minimal effort from the players. They tried everything they've changed the format from West to East to the players drafting each other, from NBA analysts becoming the GMs and drafting all-stars. But overall, like that last night, the highest scoring player for the young stars was 6 points, was just Tyler Hero and Jalen Brunson. And for Chuck's team, Shai had 12 points, which is the most out of everybody. A team full of Karl Anthony Towns, Pascal Siakam, Nicholas Jokic, Donovan Mitchell, Victor Wembanyama. So these are players that are all-stars but aren't pulling up more than 10 points. And going back to 2014, it was the same thing. I believe that the score was 186 to 211. Like, if it's over 20 points at a certain point, obviously viewerships are to go down as the game just gets boring. The game before that, back in 2022 or 2023, apologize. The game was a little bit more attacking, as they had the format that they had to go towards scoring towards a point more than the time and worried about getting the game over with. As the format that I believe has always been the best and by far has been the best All Star game in recent years was back in 2020, as there was the year that Kobe passed away. I'm not sure if it was that was the reasoning why people were trying the most, but in that game, All Star MVP was Kawhi Leonard having 30 points, and on the same team, he had LeBron James scoring 23, Anthony Davis scoring 20. Now, again, these are All Stars actually trying in an All Star game. Like in Team Giannis himself had 25 points. Joel Embiid had 22. Kemba Walker had 23. Like at this point of the time in the game, people were actually trying. And who knows, actually could have been because of Kobe's passing during that year. But the format that they had during that time actually seemed to work. But again, changed it because the viewership went down the following year. So if a viewership goes down, just the whole format has to change. I believe that the point of the effort of the players is plays a huge part, but I believe it goes bigger than that to in like the regular season, as they play 82 games in the regular season. And as an NBA player, if I had to play an NBA game and then get on a flight the same night and then play again the next day, why would I try an NBA game where I have to focus on another half of a season of 32 or 40 games? Why would I want to make my body more sore for a game that means nothing? I get no money. I get nothing. I'm already an all star. I already have the name. Why would I put in the effort? So I believe it goes more into the regular season than the actual all star game itself, as they're playing games that are exhausting and working their bodies to limits that no human should do.
I'll piggyback on this. The biggest two factors as us as fans, we want to see a show, right? That's the reason why the NBA exists and the reason why players are there. The players want to play at the highest level, and they are one of the best. Um, but just like you said, it's an all-star weekend. Almost every player in the league has a weekend off, except for the players actually playing on all-star weekend, unfortunately. But um, I believe it's up to the NBA, just like you said, players are not trying their best. I mean, even though there was low scoring players, it was a 40-point game. There was no time clock or anything like that, just a shot clock. But I believe it's up to the league when it comes to incentives or benefits. Um, for the players, as in, for example, instead of there being instead of there being a game a day after or a couple of days after, maybe we start, if the All-Star game is on a Sunday, let's start the week back on a Thursday or on a Friday, for all the players, especially involved. So this would have to be whoever schedules these events out. If it means that they had to push it out, the NBA Finals a little bit later, then I say so. You know, well, I say
Well,
it should be this. It should be that, because that means you're looking out for your players. That's the main thing. If you're looking out for your players, then the players will actually give you the results that you need from fans, which is the viewerships, which is more viewerships. The more sponsors want to pay in and stuff like that. Um, but I believe it's as long as we can, as fans, can see NBA stars actually caring, playing 1v1s, because these are times where you will never see Stephen Curry and LeBron James play together unless it's the Olympics. And as we saw, the Olympic team was a great team, but when you watch the NBA All-Stars, you have that team again, and it's just not the same because there's no defense, there's no nothing, there's no incentives to it, which I know it's there to have fun. But if I'm a fan who's watching, or if I'm a fan who's there physically, I'm paying hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for this experience, and I'm missing out because I'm not getting the proper experience that I want as a fan. And that's my take on it.
I 100% agree, as I believe fans, don't want to waste their times watching these players not try like 100% during the games. Um, a lot of people like citizens, especially this year, the All Star game was located in San Francisco this year, as it's a place that's not very cheap, as people probably travel to San Francisco, the Bay Area, and nights at a hotel in the Bay Area aren't cheap. The food isn't cheap, and just wanted authentic All Star weekend experience at a beautiful city like San Francisco. But I believe that the players could have been more special, as the game could have been more special, as specifically as you said, as it was a team. Literally, Team Shaq had 3 Olympians from this past summer, and none of them went over 10 points, and one of them didn't even play. So I believe it's just a lot of more in the league itself than more at the players at this point. Because at the end of the day, I do believe it's the commissioner and the league that could help the players try more and help them take care more of their bodies and care more about the players than the actual business of the NBA.
Exactly.
And that's mainly my take on the All-Star game.
All right, that's a wrap for today's episode of Behind the Bleachers, where we call it like we see it, even when the NBA refuses to give us a real NBA All-Star game. If you enjoyed the rant, hit that follow button, drop a review. Let us know how you would fix that mess we saw last night. Let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay loud, stay passionate, and we'll see you back here behind the bleachers.